Hey everyone, welcome back to Agent Carter Season 2 reviews. I guess that's what we're calling it now. You'll notice that this is not like last week when we had just our disembodied voices and a screenshot.
On a Skype call.
On a Skype call. Because last week we were not in the same place, which will probably be what the rest of them are like.
Mostly,
but this time it's us together, like last time, because Mike was here this Tuesday. So we watched Agent Carter together, and Agent Carter's episode was called, Better
Angels.
Better Angels, and it was Season 2, Episode 3. And for the most part, I thought that this was a fairly solid episode. Now, it had some things that I was kind of missing.
I'm glad.
Or there were things that were missing.
Wilkes, that isn't dead.
Yes, that's probably the best thing.
Even though it's probably...
He's in a predicament. But
Certainly
he is around, and the actor is apparently going to be sticking around for what is looking to be the actual full season. I don't think they would kill him off now, like when they'd already hinted at it.
Yeah. He's going to stick around for a while, but he might be bulletproof.
Yeah, that is true, because like bullets go through him right now. So essentially, he dematerialized, I guess. They didn't exactly explain it.
They didn't explain it very
well. Which
is
fine, but like basically they keep having to spray him in order to have him be seen. And also like he has to get it down his throat, which makes no sense.
Well, it's because the liquid only hits him, at his body.
I know, but it still doesn't
level.
make any sense.
No, it makes no sense.
Well, how can he hear if he didn't get it just down his ears? How is he breathing? None of this makes sense. But it's also
he doesn't
comics.
need to breathe. He's immaterial.
It's also comics. So we're kind of jumping ahead, because that was more of a mid-episode reveal.
But it's probably the most interesting part of this episode, and also the I guess the biggest relief of this episode that they didn't kill him.
True. Even though, like I said, I was pretty confident last week that they weren't going to. Specifically because I forget if I found this out after I had talked to you about it, or during it, or before. But I found a little quote from one of the producers saying that they were talking about his arc in the show. So I'm like, well, then clearly, like his arc in the season.
He's staying around.
Yeah, clearly he's going to be around. Now, in what capacity or what's going on with him, we didn't know. I assumed he was affected by the substance in some way, but possibly the same as with our evil villain. What's her name again?
Madame Mask.
Well,
Emma
I know
Frost?
it's Madame Mask.
Or
no, it's not
Frost.
Adam. It's not Emma Frost.
I know. Sorry.
Jesus,
no,
Mike.
It's Frost. Her name is Frost.
You need to swipe the iPad. We brought up the character list, but his thumb does better with the security on the pad. It's Also, this is how you can tell that there is no... Oh, it's Whitney Frost.
Whitney Frost.
Wynn Everett is the actress's name. Like I said last episode, she does a really good job.
Yeah, she was pretty excellent this episode.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying her character, and I think that her performances, there's like that quiet desperation, like that under the surface, like just, if I may use a slight pun, some cracking, because she really, which is fine, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the condition, her physical, science fiction-y condition is a metaphor for her actual emotional state of being.
Yes, that's a lot of words to put it in, but yes.
Yes, and you kind of know where she's going when her villain name is Madame Mask. So she's eventually going to put, that's going to crack, and she's going to put on a mask of villainy and cruelty and coldness and blah, blah, blah. But you can tell that the IMDb is not reliable, because it lists not just Dottie Underwood as a character that shows up, but Anna Jarvis, Those are which characters who did not show up in the episode. And I'm actually pretty bummed out that we didn't get to see Anna.
But let's talk about who did.
I know. I just want to point out the one IMDb is unreliable because you had brought it up, like, oh look,
Yeah.
Katie.
Yeah, you're right.
Also,
from previous episodes, I would like to take my foot previously put in my mouth and put back into my mouth over Agent Thompson.
Yeah, he just continues to be a heel.
Yeah, and he's being a dick. And
he very much is.
He's going to be on the outside looking in at the end of the season.
I seriously think that the way they're going to set this up is he's so focused. And they set this up at the beginning of last season, or at the end of last season, that he's so focused on ensuring his own legacy and his own career and playing ball and playing the politics that he's not actually getting cases done. That he's not actually doing what he needs to do. Whereas Peggy is all about
solving the mysteries,
the mystery, making sure that the right gets righted, and justice and everything, and not being as tempted by these things. And that's why I think that the season's going to end with her getting S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
I think it's also, as I told Mike, there's no guarantee about next season, and I feel like with 2 seasons in, this would be a really good time for them to do the jump to her doing S.H.I.E.L.D. And the fact they mentioned that is it SSR? It's SSR, right?
Yeah, SSR. The first 3 episodes they've been really building on the SSR sort of being this old thing,
antiquated
war system.
Yeah, this organization that doesn't have really any purpose. Yeah.
In a non-wartime period.
Yeah, and because they're like, the war's over, which is hilarious because the war's never, like, Korea's like right around the corner, folks. But the war's over. This is an obsolete organization. So there's going to be something else in its place, and of course you're thinking S.H.I.E.L.D., and you know exactly how that works. So again, that's my prediction for the season, especially because Stark is still around. Speaking of which, Stark is around this episode.
Yes, Howard Stark.
I should say Howard Stark. He is making movies now, which we already kind of knew about in the first 2 episodes. Excuse me, I'm very tired. He is actually in the director's chair and being very, like, he's doing exactly what Dominic Cooper needs to do in this series, which is be, like, over the top and be Howardy and
speak some sciencey mumbo jumbo.
Say enough sciencey mumbo jumbo, but then add in, like, a quippiness here or there, and be generally like Tony's dad. Like, do exactly like the...
And invent comic booky technology.
Yeah. And then, of course, there was the part where they were talking about the movie he's making and how it's based off of a Western cowboy comic book. And Peggy with disdain goes, turning a comic book into a major motion picture? Wait, I have the exact quote. Let's see if I can pull it up. I tweeted about it because I was like... I wanted to make it because she had it. It was really well. Let's see if it loads.
The internet here has been terrible tonight.
No, it looks like it's getting there. Let's see. Aha! A movie based on a comic book sounds like a dreadful idea. And I just went like, I see you, Marvel. I see you. She's not wrong.
No, there's been plenty of dreadful ideas.
But I just went like, well played. And there's another part later down the line after she gets attacked. We're kind of jumping around this review. But after she gets attacked, at actually the Stark mansion in LA, and Jarvis puts in more security systems. And it's actually really cute how quickly the turnaround is. I think they said that Howard and him were working all night after the attack to ensure that there was some kind of security system. But he uses his voice like, intruder, alert, intruder. And I mean, immediately your thought is like, well, this is a reference to it's a reference to Jarvis, the system that you meet in the first Iron Man movie, and that is there throughout basically everything until it becomes the Vision. So that was a cute nod in itself. And then Peggy kind of teases him about the voice, and he says something like, "Don't worry, it will be changed. I have no desire to be a disembodied voice for all eternity." And I went, I couldn't even tweet that one out because I felt like it was too much of a spoil. But I was like, oh, foreshadowing. And I've already said that one of the things I really want to happen, that probably won't, is for some reason for the Vision to go back in time. You know, I think he might. No, he doesn't have the time gem. He has the mind one, I think, or soul. They never really. Let's just be honest. They're all convoluted. And if they really wanted to, they could change that MacGuffin to be whatever the hell they wanted. So like it could happen. But I want him to go back in time and meet Jarvis and have it be this weird moment of like the Vision seeing the man that he was directly based on.
The inspiration. The
inspiration for basically his entire personality. And the fact that then that creation becomes a superhero in its own right is pretty amazing. But again, that whole
Are you
nice
saying Jarvis isn't a superhero?
He is a superhero. I'm just saying that he's like one of the. I don't want to say he's one of the weirdest superheroes that Marvel has done, but I would say he's one of the weirdest superheroes that the MCU has done. Because the MCU has only done so many superheroes. And
their next weird one will be Captain Marvel.
Because it's actually a female character.
That's where I was going with it.
Yeah, let's see when that happens.
2035.
Yeah, whenever. So mad. Anyway, but no, I really like that little nod, and I know they're easy jokes, but at the same time, I don't care when they're funny.
Yeah.
There's another nod to Whitney Frost, the movie that she's in, which what was the reference again?
Toy Story?
No. It wasn't the Western, it was like, because that's one that Howard does, but you see it in the background, and it's a Marvel comic reference.
Oh, was it Tales of Suspense?
I think it's Tales of...
Yeah.
Tales of Suspense, which is another, like, nicely done. Yeah, so this felt like a very middle episode. There's like a lot of threads that were connected, but we do get somewhere with most of the storyline.
We sort of get it's sort of like they reveal a lot about this backers club, because we have the whole...
Oh yeah, Howard, that's the thing, Howard's exposition includes like, I'm going to explain this racist, sexist club to you, Peggy. It's racist and sexist. And he has to explain it like 3 times, like, Peggy, you can't get in because they're sexist.
And you're a woman.
And it's like, no, we get it. And they have this like funny plan where they go in, and Bet White's accountant friend is... from Parks and Rec is playing the like maitre d', or like the head of the more public version of the club, the one that like where you could actually like technically kind of walk in,
put on a smoking jacket, walk in, order a
whereas all the back deals go on in the back room. You know, so it's the nicer version of the establishment. So Howard comes in and he's like, I don't see any girls, and automatically I don't like this. And he's like, well, that's just the way it is. I don't think that's even the voice he does, but it's hard for me to not connect that actor with his voice from Parks and Rec. But I think he had more of a British accent. I forget. He has some kind of like snootier accent. But Howard opens the doors and all these girls come in. And he's like, girls, mingle with the old white men. Mingle. And at the same time, Peggy comes in as one of the supposed girls and sneaks into the back room and tries to find stuff, but she can't bring anything back. But she notices
She tries to bugs. She
What?
tries to bug the place with the wire.
Oh yeah,
bugs.
and it doesn't work, and she tries to just steal stuff and she couldn't get it. But, which is weird because you would think that she would at least try to take like one of the front page of the newspaper and just stuff it down her dress or something.
You would think, but then also it's leaving proof that she was there.
Oh, right, because the guy notices. Wasn't she holding a book or something? What was the book about? I
think she
missed
just
it.
grabbed a book from the library
Oh, okay.
on her way out.
I thought maybe it was evidence and she couldn't, but it was like the most obvious evidence ever because it was a giant book that she was just carrying. But anyway, so Thompson is at LA and he is all pissed off because they haven't found much. And I do like the fact that, what's his name? Souza is really good about standing up for her. And in a way that's not like white knighting, because I know that Peggy was really adamant last season about it, but he's her boss, or at least he's the one who's running the case over in LA, and she's an agent that's working with him, and the fact that he backs her up is really good. Like, it feels just like him doing the right thing as the person running it and knowing that she is a competent agent, which I really like. I don't think that there's any sense that he's doing it just because it's a pretty girl that he still holds a torch for. Yeah, exactly. Even though his engagement is mentioned, he says, I'm getting engaged. I don't think he has gotten engaged yet, right? That didn't happen?
No.
No. But we didn't see the girl this episode. We didn't see the...
Dottie, but she was mentioned.
Oh, and we also didn't see the girl running the front desk at the...
No.
At the organization. Rose, I think Rose or Rosie, I think is the character's name. But we didn't see her either, which is fine. There were already a lot of characters that were thrown in. We do also see, like I said, we see Thompson playing the game more. Red from...
Kurtwood Smith, I believe.
Kirkwood Smith from that 70s show comes in and plays the super shady guy from the FBI who tells them to play ball and give them the stuff that they need.
When you find something, you're going to bring it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know exactly what this thing is going to be when you see it.
And you don't want to, you want to make sure to play the game. And to play the game means to have a job after this organization falls through. And Thompson is clearly he's being such a prick, but it makes sense for the character. So it's not that I hope that it's framed as him getting his comeuppance for being shady as hell and not doing for the good of...
He's supporting the cover-up.
A little bit. He's certainly not listening to his own instincts and going along too much with people higher up in other places than him, instead of pushing what he should be pushing, which I think is the problem.
He's not questioning enough.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just not looking at the big picture.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the episode, we see Kurtwood Smith's character take him right into the club.
Which should have been
red flags.
A red flag already. But then he's and here's your new best friend, the bad guy.
The new senator.
Who's now going to be a senator, which is exactly what Peggy said. And the
evidence Peggy found was Future newspaper, one with a headline that his competition in the Senate race was either going to have a sex scandal or he was going to resign.
And then the quietly resigned newspaper is the exact same wording that she reads out. And so that means Thompson knows. Now here's the thing, I think maybe Thompson will recognize that clearly something shady is going on and he's going to actually do something about it. I think that could because I don't think he's a bad person. I just think that he's a very selfish person who makes bad choices based off of what he thinks will give him the edge on top.
Yeah, he's constantly trying to look out for himself and put himself in the best position he can.
Yeah.
Rather than putting his agency or his job in the best position it should be.
He's being a lesser government agent and doing a lesser job of protecting the U.S. people than if he was just doing what basically our heroes in Sosa and Peggy do and try to do the best he can. He's not doing the best he can. And he did this a little bit last season too, so again, it makes sense. And I'm trying to think there's what else we've missed as far as things in the middle, because I feel like we've seen a lot of things in the middle. Or like because we've jumped around, you know.
Yeah, we've jumped around a lot this episode.
But it feels like an episode that has a lot of different plot points. I still, like I said, I really like who plays Frost. And, we find out that she was, in fact, an actress/scientist, just like, oh gosh, there is a famous actress of World War II.
While you look that up, I'll say things. So,
yeah,
she has, one of her big scenes is that we get to see her powers manifest a little bit. And, basically, definitely she has a lot of the zero matter inside of her.
Hedy Lamarr. Sorry. Hedy Lamarr, which, by the way, if you look up her bio, because she was a famous Hollywood actress throughout the mid-20th century, and she was incredible at that. But she was also, like, basically a scientist, inventor, genius. And she also worked as a spy for the U.S. government against the Nazis. She was incredible, and I don't know if they've said specifically that their version of Madame Mask is somewhat based on her own accomplishments, but it really feels that way because it feels very spot on for what Hedy Lamarr had done throughout like the 30s and 40s and 50s. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to bring that up because I really like the fact that they're tying in a pretty famous example of a woman just doing a crap ton of stuff plus science. Anyway, go on.
Anyway, so she has the zero matter inside of her, and basically the director
this is towards the very end. It's like the last scene.
Says that he came to her defense when the studio wanted to change out for someone younger and a new face. And so she hugs him and, he's getting a little handsy.
Like he's clearly like not going to let her go and then tries to touch her face.
I think he tried to go in for a kiss.
Oh yeah, he definitely was. But then he accidentally revealed because she had this like the
little mark from
but she's been hiding it with her hairstyle. And he sees it, and I think she touches him, or he touches the mark, I forget which one, but he starts like, oh, it's so creepy.
No, it comes, like...
She touches him, like...
Yeah, okay, so he moves the hair, and then all of a sudden she gets angry, and her hand is grabbing him, and it comes out of her hand, and basically he becomes, like the dead bodies that we've seen before.
It looks like it goes through like his veins and his skin, but then it comes out. It's such a creepy... the special effect isn't particularly good as like on its own, like technically, but the visual of like the black goo like coming out of his mouth and then engulfing him is so unnerving. I was like, again, it's one of those things where like technically, I don't know how well the special effect worked, but the general visual...
And then instead of him shattering like all of our previous...
Yeah, it gets sucked back into her.
She sucks him inside
like
her.
inside her palms.
Yeah.
Which is so... And what I liked about it too is that they could have easily have made her go like smirky at the end, like... Ooh, I like this. Instead, she's just, like, still shocked and horrified. And I kind of like the fact that she hasn't fully, like, decided to embrace her powers yet, because that would have been really easy.
I'm going evil.
Yeah, exactly. She's not quite there. Don't get me wrong.
She's
already an incredibly immoral character. Because she is. Like, she was doing horrible things before the accident. But she's also like not at the point where she is accepting of these powers at all. I also really like the fact that she's desperate, but she does in the middle of the episode try to suggest to her husband that she wanted to leave movies. And I really like the fact that this isn't just about a woman who just desperately wants to be a star. She really, I don't think, it's not that she doesn't care about being an actress, I think she does, but it's not as if, it's not like a Black Swan thing where this is her only option in her mind. I think she thinks that she could do a ton of other stuff. It's
Acting
just that,
is a fun hobby for her.
no, I wouldn't
Maybe.
even say that. Like, you're being way too cavalier about
Okay.
this. But what I'm saying is that her desperation doesn't come from, I must do this. It comes from, I'm in this position where my husband expects this from me. I have to keep things just so. And then I can maybe quit, but I don't know if I have if I can keep this up for that long, or if they're gonna fire me or whatever, because she's already worried about that. So I like the fact that her desperation about staying an actress doesn't have as much to do with this like weird drive to be a diva and beyond, like diva in the most like actress sense of the word, and to be on top and to be a star. It's not like whatever happened to Baby Jane levels of like, I must be the actress that everybody loves and adores. It's not that. It's way more just the fact that she's put in this position where she must still perform because it's expected of her. If that makes sense. I'm trying to be clear about it. And then in the meantime, the other big thing that happened is that Wilkes is framed for communism, which to be fair is very of the time. You know, I don't know how early that started happening. I know it was really strong early to mid 50s. Early to mid 50s. And I think this might be 47 at this point, 48.
I think we're definitely late 40s.
So maybe it was just starting. I'm not sure the timeline for the McCarthy stuff. But the other thing is that they do bring up the fact that he's black is definitely an easy way to pin this on him. It certainly adds to it. You're more likely to think that in this time, and really, let's be honest, a lot of people in our current situation thinking that a non-white man is a traitor to the country is way more
easily believable
than just like that white guy that ran out of the building. So, or a famous white actress. But yeah, they really easily place him, and it's really clear that this shady group is expecting the SSR to kind of to be baited by it. And like I said, I mean, what I think is good is that the communism thing gets included, but they don't shy away from the fact that there's probably racism in there too. Yeah. And also, another notch against Thompson is that he goes back when she's saying, I know that something shady is happening. I saw the newspaper. I couldn't find evidence, but I'm telling you that this is...
And Thompson wants to start pressing the lie because that's what everyone else is putting out.
Well, and Thompson says specifically, like, maybe your feelings for this random guy, maybe you need to start thinking about what they'll say about you because he's, a communist. And it's like, well, one, we also know that you're saying a black man in there. Like, we can read between the lines what you think is going to be the insult to Peggy's reputation. And then the other thing is that he's once again defaulting back to, Peggy, don't you think you're being too emotional and having your feelings for a man
cloud your judgment
because you're a woman? It's like, Thompson, you're such a prick. I cannot wait for your fall. Like, you're gonna get a fall from power. And again, he's not necessarily evil. He's just a douchebag who defaults to this shit. And the thing, and you know, Sousa gets a pretty good call out in the middle to end of the first season. But Sousa does a pretty good job of learning his lesson from that and treating her with the kind of respect that she deserves, and seeing her more as a human being, to the point when even when he clearly still has feelings for her, he still tries to treat her as another person that works with him and as another agent that deserves respect. And I really like that about him, that he seems to have genuinely learned from his own faults from the first season.
Yeah.
So, because I know a lot, it's really easy to go like, oh, Sousa was actually like a sexist guy after all, which I think way too like dumbs down the general idea of his flaws.
Mm-hmm.
So, besides that, there's more Wilkes and Agent Carter interaction, and I really like their chemistry.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that, like, they can't touch right now, and they still have that, like, really good edge to them, is pretty awesome. The fact that she's so, like, when she says that he has earned her respect and trust, and I think she might have even said, it's either admiration or something else. There's another word in there that she uses. But you believe her? Like, it doesn't feel like lip service whatsoever. I like that a lot. And there's a part towards the end where he's, like, looking at her like she's the most amazing person ever, and that because he wants to leave, because all idiot heroes want to, you know, protect people. I mean, we just saw this with The Flash, and it was the dumbest thing. And here, Peggy goes, no, you're not leaving, because it's stupid, because you're the key in stopping this bad stuff from happening. You're not going to change anything one way or the other by where you are. Like, you're not going to make me any less of a target. I've already made myself a target. You leaving would only make things more complicated. So you're staying. And I think he says, okay, I'm staying. And she says, good, I'm glad you saw a reason. It was like, well, not really. It's just you want me to stay. And I want to be around you, basically. I forget what the actual phrasing was. But it's a great little moment where he's just like, he just really likes her. And it works. And I'm like, I'm okay with this pairing. Once again, I think the lack of Angie is a real bummer. It's less apparent here because really this is kind of focused on a lot of other characters, not on the female characters as much, which is fine. Not every episode is going to have Peggy really hardcore interacting with a lot of female characters. But it's still a shame. Like, I think every episode I might bring up the lack of Angie, because she was such a great part of the last season, and I feel like they could have included her in the whole LA thing very easily, because she's an actress, and they didn't, and they haven't, they probably won't, so that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, because it basically gave the first season sort of more of a Peggy Carter when she's not on the case sort of thing, and we haven't really gotten
the closest we
as
got
much
is
of that.
Anna Jarvis, and I feel like Angie and Anna could be such a fun duo.
Like a trio.
Exactly, but like her on her off time and having to, and then like being frustrated, and the two of them kind of being her support group would be really fun. They could have done a lot of things with it, and it's kind of a bummer that they didn't. I think it was largely because that actress had another job, had another
show,
either another show or a movie that she had to focus on. It was still a bummer though. Besides that, I can't think of anything else. Can you think of anything?
No, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
This episode was a solid bit.
It was definitely a middle episode, and it took a lot of time to get things going, but it also had some really good little moments here and there. A lot of good character interaction between Peggy and Jarvis. It also foreshadows a potential where Jarvis decides to work for Peggy
rather than working for Howard Stark.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going with that. If they're going, I mean, the thing is that Tony, he needs to be around Tony enough for Tony to be inspired to make Jarvis, to make his Jarvis system into basically a personality that is Jarvis the butler. Yeah, besides that, I still think that it might be one of those things where he starts working for S.H.I.E.L.D. specifically so he can work both for Howard and
Peggy.
for Peggy. But I like the fact that he's always reluctant to do certain things, but he's clearly decided to put his best foot forward as far as assisting and being an adventurer of sorts. He's kind of embraced that, I should say. So with that, I think we have some good stuff set up for episode 4. I'm excited. I kind of want to see and this will probably be something that we toot our horn about quite a bit. They still need more women of color characters. We got one episode that had a bunch in the background, but that's about it. And I'm hoping that they can integrate some more non-white women into the cast more, even if I like the fact that Wilkes, as a black man, has a fairly prominent role this season.
Yes.
So with that, we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye!